I would rather have the feeling of writing a great song or a great lick more than like having a great orgasm.
Sure.
More than like winning the lottery, or more than like,
if I could write a great song, then listen to that song while I'm having an orgasm. After finding out I just won the lottery, I would love to have a combination of those things. For the steepers at home, just so you know, today we are drinking Pink Grapefruit. It is by Bird and Blend. It is a green tea, so probably steep around 175 or 180 for temperature. I don't know what the brand says. They probably say 3 minutes because a lot of brands say 3 minutes on green tea. I do this for usually around 4, but between 3 and 4 I think is fine. Our steepers at home, we invite them to have tea with us.
Okay. Hey, I hope you guys do. I mean, this tea is fantastic. It has definitely lifted my mood a little bit.
Well, I thought I lifted your mood. It was the tea? Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not taking it personally, but I will tell you that later tonight when we're going to bed, I will turn to Jess and let her know that my feelings were hurt.
You got it.
Do you ever do that when you're in a relationship or hanging with someone, even if it's not super serious? My favorite thing was before going to bed, just like turning to that person and just sharing my last weird thoughts of the night. Do you ever do that?
I have not done that.
Okay,
I haven't been in enough intimate relationships to do that.
Okay.
But you know what? Maybe it's I definitely share my weird thoughts all the time.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe that's something I could do, and just like one of the last weird thoughts of the day, and just like, hey, so I know you're going to have a lovely sleep, hopefully, but before you do, think about this, because this is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, before you do, like, do you ever think ostriches are jealous that they don't fly in the sky? I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know, man. By the size of their legs, I feel like they might see the other legs of the rest of the birds and be like, you know what? I'm glad that I'm like 4 feet tall, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad about that, even though I'm only 5'10". When you walked in here, I was just like, oh, I'm jealous.
Well, you know what it is? It's a pair of shoes. You know, they give me like an extra 1.5 inches. And I don't, you know, I'm already tall, so I don't buy shoes to give me the extra 1.5 inches.
Yeah, you don't need it.
I don't need it. But every once in a while when I do, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I'm wearing these boots today.
You look good.
You know? So yeah, a little extra height.
It is funny what you said earlier where you were like, I haven't been in enough intimate relationships. I was in a more serious relationship when I was much younger. I think it ended around like 21, 22. And then I kind of did this vague kind of lost at sea sort of thing, or like I thought a couple people might be the thing and then it wasn't the thing, but I wasn't, but it was never super duper serious.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm explaining this very well.
No, I hear you.
But like wasn't super duper serious. And then I think with Jess, it was the right time and the right person.
I definitely think when I met this current girl that I'm seeing, I definitely think it was kind of the right time. And I definitely think it is kind of the right person. Like we've both been kind of waiting for a relationship that feels truly reciprocative.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, it feels like we might be like 50-50 in this thing. Like, let's see how it goes. Go after something you want. And if you don't like it, then guess what? Bye-bye. There are more fish in the sea. There's shrimp too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
which I literally had some shrimp last night. And
hey, there
you
go.
Liked it.
Scampi or what?
No, I was not expecting such a specific point in question. Scampi. I do love shrimp scampi. No, we had yellow coconut curry with shrimp in it.
Oh man, now you make my mouth water.
It's so good.
Okay.
Listen, we'll have you over.
Okay,
and we'll make dinner for you. You don't live far.
Oh, I live like 5 minutes away.
The last thing I was going to say, because I don't want to blow up this woman's spot at all that you're currently exploring whatever it is with. Does she live in I'm going to say like a 30-minute radius of where you live?
Yes.
Okay. I think that is massive.
Oh, 100%.
In Los Angeles. 100%.
Like she's on the brink of where I would go to.
Yeah. You're like, if you were Thai Town, I probably couldn't be seeing it's way too far.
Like if you were like more central LA, which potentially is closer sometimes it's further.
Yeah,
like she's in the valley. And I forgive her for that.
No, but not deep. Not too deep.
Like if she was in Burbank, I'd be like, okay, boo.
No, you'd be like, it was so good meeting you.
It was so good to meet you.
Yeah.
But she's in the perfect spot where it's like, no traffic, 25 minutes, a little bit of traffic, maybe 35. So,
But I can that I can handle.
yeah.
But how does that contrast? So you started in Florida. How long were you in Florida? I think you said around Tampa. I don't know if it was Tampa the whole time.
Yeah.
I think I read something about Miami.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically my life has been broken up pretty evenly. 18 years in Tampa.
Love it.
4 years in Miami, 4 years in New York, now 6.5 years in LA.
Can I ask a really unfair question?
Do it.
Do you see your future here? Is this where it is?
As long as I'm doing entertainment, trying to be beautiful for you guys. And
You are. You're a very
great.
handsome guy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I can see myself in LA doing it,
Okay.
I think if I had a career change, I could easily move away from Southern California. I don't feel like going back to Florida right now. Whole lots of reasons. And I definitely think that I would want to, stay closer to family, so depending on where my brother ends up, where my mom ends up, it would be nice to be able to live closer to them. Having said all that, if I stay with entertainment, yeah, I could see myself in LA for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so you did Tampa, then you did Miami. I'm guessing Miami was college.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were there. Then what made I get that jump because Tampa's cool, Miami's cool. What took you from Miami to New York?
So my aunt lives in New York. I always grew up going and visiting, and New York has always been a second home. I just love the city. I've been addicted to it since I was a kid.
Sure.
And so I was just always oh, I want to live in New York. And I graduated college and I'm like, I don't want to be a broadcast journalist. I want to be an artist.
You don't want to be a broadcast journalist. Every kid's dream.
Every kid's dream. They were like, oh, if you want to be a broadcast journalist, go to Missoula, Montana and go get I was like, I am not doing any sort of starting job. And so I moved to New York to discover myself.
I still haven't found myself. How did it work out for you? You found yourself?
I did. I found myself pretty quickly. I'm not gonna lie. I was a singer-songwriter in college. That's when I started. And then I moved to New York and I really fell in love with the blues. And for that first couple months, all I listened to was blues and oldies. And I just decided, I'm like, hey, these are the songs I want to sing. My life has been really good. I've never thought about a meal. I've never thought that I'd ever go broke, but I've experienced a shit ton of heartache.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the blues fits me. Write sad songs that make people feel better.
So, okay. I happen to love the blues.
Great.
I studied jazz guitar for 15 years.
Cool.
And when I got to school, I went to school in St. Louis, every kid's dream. And no, I loved it. I went to WashU. It was great. But when I went there.
So did my mom.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Your mom went to WashU?
Yeah.
Oh my God, did we go the same time? We don't know. Listen, I think that I don't know what age it's going to be for me, but I don't think I'm going to age well. So I think at a certain age, maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's 45 or 50. All of a sudden, I'm going to look like I'm 80. And at that point, I don't know how old your mother is, but she might look younger than me.
She might look, she still looks like she's around 45. I think the secret is oils, certain face oils and stuff like that.
Okay.
I have a hobo oil, as well as there's this other company. I don't know if I'm allowed to name drop them.
I don't care. Go. We can bleep it if you don't want it.
Maelove. They have this oil. It's called Precious Face Oil. I'm telling you, works wonders. Makes you feel fantastic and just so smooth. I'm telling you, it's the move.
Daytime, nighttime.
You could do daytime and or nighttime, and you don't need to use it every single day.
Okay.
But as you start using it, I'll get it for you. I'll get it for you because I need to re-up myself.
Oh my God, please.
I'll get you a little gift.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the best. You can come back anytime.
Hey, tell you what, let's do it. I'm already coming back for shrimp. So.
Yeah. Oh my God, we're gonna do it. I'm telling you, I genuinely am excited. I love making that kind of food.
Oh, I love it too. I love cooking. I love cooking for other people. I love cooking for myself.
I feel like you're good. I don't know.
Hell yeah,
I'm getting energy from
I make it happen,
you.
bro. I make it happen. I throw down in that kitchen. Ain't no games. No games.
What's your best dish?
My best dish is jerk chicken. I had a jerk chicken party last year.
Party? You had a jerk chicken party?
Jerk chicken party.
Love it.
Just made a bunch of jerk chicken, invited some friends over. Good handful of people said it's the best, not only jerk chicken, it's the best chicken that they've had in their entire life.
Holy crap.
And I'm not gonna lie, the recipe is fire. I wish I like could take ownership of it, but obviously it came from a chef. But yeah, I make jerk chicken is probably the best thing I make.
You found yourself musically in New York. Is that where the cooking started?
I would say the cooking started in college. So I went to school for broadcast journalism, and one semester we had to just watch television. That was like part of our homework. Just like
I should have studied
one week
broadcast
you're
journalism.
watching Fox, one week you're watching CBS, one week you're watching NBC. Just like just like the local programming on and on. And so part of that, I was watching 30-minute meals with Rachel Ray.
Gotta.
And so that's where I kind of like got spurred on to cook. And then from there, it just kept on going and evolving. And then once you have a little bit more dominion and a little bit more like, you know, your own place and stuff, you just keep going.
So you're in New York, you found the blues. Now, when I was playing music in New York, I was playing at smaller places, but like my favorite place to play, and I played there more than any other place in New York, was the Bitter End. That's where I played a lot. I have to guess you played there.
Yeah.
Where were the places when you started finding that blues was your calling? Where were you playing?
So my first like long-term gig was this bar called No Fun, Lower East Side.
I don't know if I know it.
Yeah. No Fun Bar was all fun. And
what a weird name. Yeah.
I know, right? And so basically I kind of like had a residency, like playing there Friday nights, Thursday nights, and like I would play, and then after like that, like they'd have a DJ, and like the whole place would like turn up, and it'd be like
amazing,
kind of like a little club. So really having fun at No Fun, like that's like kind of where I cut my teeth, because I'd have to like play for 2 hours, and like back then it'd be like, oh my gosh, 2 sets of 45 minutes worth of music, like 18 songs. Like how am I gonna figure that out? And like now I could like, you know, play a 5-hour gig like no problem, you know.
Well, you mentioned off mic that you've played weddings before. In order to do that, you must have to have, I mean, you can use like, you know, fake books and lead sheets and things like that, but committed to your brain, you must have to have a ton of tracks.
I have definitely a lot of songs just committed to memory by now. And like, it's just, you know, you just, you get the hamster wheel rolling, and you just keep on rolling with it. One of my favorite things now is to like, you know, play a song that I've never played before, but like live at a gig, like a song that I've heard on the radio, like, you know, a couple times or like through the years, but I've like never played. Like Miley Cyrus's Flowers. Like I don't think I've ever actually listened to that song start to finish.
I haven't, no.
But I've played it at a gig. And I'm just like, you know, like I didn't do the absolute best. Honestly, probably the funniest was I was down in OC, and this dad is like, hey, like, can you play the song? Like it's a Father's Day like song. It's a country song. Never heard the song before, but I'm like, it's country. He's like, dude, you got it. You got it. I'm like, all right. Pull up the chorus, pull up the lyrics, play the song. I did pretty decent.
Did you really?
Pretty decent.
You didn't even listen before to go, what does this sound like?
Never even heard it before. But I was like, it's kind of a country song. I'm like, I'm going to have to put my spin on it. I got the chords. Let's just make it up, you know? And then I listened to it later, and I was like, honestly, wasn't that far off. Because certain country songs,
that's not easy.
You can tell how they're going to go.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it was a song like a little more breaking, a little less gas for my Chevrolet, because I got my little man with me. It was, you know, it was a great song. It was a sweet father-son song.
Sounds like an interesting song. So before you found that you wanted to do music full time, were you playing guitar at a young age?
No, I wasn't. I picked up guitar in college. I've always been playing music. I started with piano, was singing. Really, the first instrument I was good at, besides my voice, because my voice is also an instrument, was the drums. I fell in love with the drums, and like that's how I got introduced to so many different genres of music. Like I never liked rock and roll until I started playing the drums, and then I, you know, got into the Killers. I got into the Queens of the Stone Age and like Foo Fighters and all that. And I'm just like, wow,
really?
like I love rock and roll. And I'm like, I never thought I would, you know. And then like got into the Roots and all different kinds of, you know. And so I would just go home and just, if I wasn't at soccer practice, I was playing the drums in my room. You know,
playing till things fall apart, just playing along to it.
Making it happen, man.
That is so interesting. Yeah, I always wanted to be good at drums. I was guitar and voice. I was never played drums. Wanted to. I think the drummer is the coolest person on the stage.
I can beg to differ.
Other than you.
Being the lead singer, I'll beg to differ. You know what I mean? I gotta be honest with you.
I was the lead singer, but I had a very attractive bass player.
Okay.
And it just was not fair.
Yeah,
I'm like up here doing work, and he's just there being like, boom, ba-doop, doom, doom. And everyone's like, who is that guy? I'm like,
that
yo,
guy?
I'm singing and playing. This guy's just doom, ba-doop, ba-dooming over there.
But did he have good hair?
Yeah.
You see, that's what
Can I
it
tell you
is,
something?
dude.
His dad is Cuban. His mom is half Venezuelan, half Italian.
Oh, dang.
He spoke at any given time 3 to 4 languages.
Oh, man. Had a little bit of an accent, too?
No, but he could if he wanted to, but he didn't have one. But was also just an incredibly sweet guy, and he was emo.
Okay.
So we weren't. Our music wasn't emo, but he dressed emo. Ladies were like, he seems hurt. I want to help him. I was like, help me! I'm hurt.
Did he have a beautiful name, too? You don't have to name drop it if you don't want to.
I don't mind dropping it. Let me tell you something, because this is how crazy it is. His name is Mark Falcon, but because it's Spanish, technically his last name was Falcon.
Falcon.
But people just called him Falcon. So can you imagine? He's a bass player named Falcon.
Oh, dang. No, I couldn't understand how he's the hottest guy in your band, for sure.
Can I tell you something? I'm sitting there as like a front man, like a straight guy, and women go, you get it, right? And I look at him, I go, yeah, obviously
I get it. There's sex coming out of this bass, dude.
Dude, I'm telling you, I looked at him, I go, yeah, he's objectively stunning.
Yeah.
I was like, I get it.
Yeah. I see it.
And I was like, who wants the guy next door? I'm right here. I was like,
answer was one person.
Yeah, well, I didn't find that person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone came up there like, hey, what's his name? I'm like, do you want to know my name? They're like, we do not.
No,
I'm like,
we don't.
Excellent. Okay.
We don't.
I'm
It's
like,
okay.
I talked to you from the stage for a while. They're like, you did. And I was wondering what his deal is.
Yeah.
So you were doing, so you were at No Fun Bar, and then you stuck around. Did anything precipitate the move to LA, or you were just like, I need to change?
I mean, a lot of things precipitated that move. I would say really one of the biggest things was I was running an open mic with a friend. And my friend was like, hey, so it's been fun, but I'm going to move to LA. And I'm like, you're not leaving me here by myself. Yeah. And so that just like kind of spurred the thought about leaving. And like, I was working full time at UNICEF, and that was great. Working for the UN. It was kind of crazy.
Okay, we're going to go back to that in a second, but go ahead.
And like my contract was ending, and I'm like, all right, let me at least take this month off, go on a little tour. Took the month off, went on a little tour, got back to New York. I'm like, if I want to stay here, I have to get another full-time job. And I'm like, I have a little bit of money saved up. Like, why don't I just try moving to LA and seeing what it's like? And so then I did. And I told everybody because I didn't want to leave. I'm like, I'll be back in like 3 months. Of course, 3 months later, I'm like still here and not coming back to New York at all.
Yeah, well, it also depends the month, right? If you say, if you're like, hey, I'm going to come back in 3 months, and the month was like February, you're like, nah.
Yeah, the month was December, and I'm like, how am I going to come back December 15th to New York City? Like, this
I will say that I think that December in New York is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. Still, fall in New York is,
so I'm a November baby. What month?
December 22nd. Okay. Yeah, man.
Phenomenal time.
Yeah.
Because if I were you, I would be like, oh yeah, all these lights are for me.
Dude, of course. Yeah. I celebrate the whole damn month, bro.
You should.
I worked twice on my birthday. Okay. Both of those birthdays, I was having Mai Tais at lunch. Like, who wants to work 3 days before Christmas? Like, nobody wants to. Nobody's doing it. Guy. Not me. No. Yeah. So,
like, don't get me wrong, I love doing stand up, and it refreshes my soul.
Yeah.
You think I did it the week of Christmas? You're out your mind.
No. I'm out.
And I'm a Jew. I'm still like, I'm like, this is my week.
Yeah, dude, of course, man. Yeah, you got 12 days, dog. Come on, let's celebrate.
I never used to, obviously, to the shock of nobody, was not celebrating Christmas. But, but Jess is Christian. She goes, we're doing Christmas. And then I started learning like all these real important things to know about Christmas that I didn't know, where it's just like, yeah, we do cookie decorating and you really got to try. And I'm like, but I'm not good at this.
I'm not good at this. Well, we got to try to be
She's
good.
like, you got to really work on it. And then she was like, yeah, and then you wear matching outfits Christmas Day. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, the guys, my mom gets outfits for the guys and outfits for the girls. And I'm like,
we got the slippers, the socks, everything.
I wear slippers everywhere. I don't care what month it is. I wear slippers at home.
I wore my slipper in my robe to walk my dog in the morning. Even if it's like 11:30, I don't care. I don't care. Right. This is my neighborhood. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're welcome to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm not even embarrassed to share this. I should be, but I'm not. I have the two of the same pair of slippers. I'm not going to name the brand because they're not sponsoring, but if they were, I would. But I own two pairs of these slippers, and anyone who's seen the YouTube videos of this podcast has spotted my slippers because I wear them all the time. But I have two pairs, one that I wear at home and one that I bring on the road with me. So when I'm staying in like hotels, motels, whatever, when I'm doing other stuff, I bring them with me.
Bro, you know what it is? The people who don't understand that, they don't wear slippers enough.
I don't understand why people don't.
They don't. I mean, dude, it's something that people should have on deck for when one gets a little bit old or my dog comes up and chews up the back. You have another one ready to go. It's one of the best gifts you can give to somebody. It's like, hey, I want you to be comfortable.
Thank you. I don't understand.
Nah, man, people don't know. People don't know. They don't think enough.
I have to ask, and we're going to get to the newly friend game. I just have to ask really fast what kind of dog, because I'm visioning it now and I want to know.
I have a miniature schnauzer. Her name is Betty, specifically Black Betty Bambalam Watson.
So she's a Ram Jam dog.
Ram Jam. Every morning waking her up. Oh, Black Betty, Bambalam. Oh, Black Betty, Bambalam. Black Betty had a child. Bambalam. The damn thing going wild. And she goes crazy.
You probably don't want her to go wild.
No, but she's just the best dog, man. This dog came good. I mean, like I've had to train her, but she's just the best dog. Super sweet.
I'm going to take us to the first segment. Are you ready for the newly friend game?
Ready for it.
It's like the newlywed game, but we're friends. I mean, who knows? Things may change in the future, but we're friends for now. I have a question that I ask. We both write down our answers. First, I ask you the question.
Okay.
We write down our answers. Then we'll do it for me. Okay. Sometimes I ask different questions. Today, I'm going to do the same one. The question is, who is your favorite blues musician?
Okay.
There's so many people.
There's a whole lot of them.
So many people that I love. I know who I'm going to go with.
Great.
All right. You ready to flip your board on 3? 1, 2, 3. Oh, great answer. Okay, so Chris put Muddy Waters, which is a phenomenal answer. I put down BB King, who I thought was a good answer, but apparently the thrill is gone. That's great, man. Muddy Waters is such a good. I should have written that.
Yeah, man.
You know what? I'm gonna look back on this moment as a real big missed opportunity.
It's okay.
Do you like BB King at all?
I do like BB King, but it's more of like a Beyonce type thing, like where I see the legend and the path that he paved, and there's a lot of respect more than I specifically like his style of blues.
Interesting.
You know? Like I'm way more like Muddy Waters. His delivery is so good, and right under him, barely under him, is Albert King, because he just is just so clever, and like his delivery and like the songs and everything. So yeah.
So we're going to move really quickly because I have things to say, but I can't say them until we do mine. Can you guess who my favorite blues musician is? Don't say it, but write it down. 1, 2, 3. Oh,
gosh, how did I not even get?
I thought you were going to get that because I said you'd think it was funny. So he wrote down Howlin' Wolf, which is a great guess, but the answer is Albert King.
Albert King.
That's why we had to rush into mine because I couldn't say anything.
You know what it is about Albert King?
He's amazing.
He just has these lines that are just so true. One of my favorite lines, and I was telling this to my new girl, and she was like, a little like, I don't know if I should be offended by this or that. He has a line said, a big leg woman gonna carry me to my grave, born under a bad sign. And I just love that. A big-legged woman gonna carry me to my grave. I'm like, damn right she will. You don't need to be, you know what I'm saying? I just need some meat to grab onto.
100%. And by the way, just from you singing that one line, I'm like, yeah, I date you. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Albert King's my favorite, man.
Albert King is incredible. Yeah. I just had to, I don't usually rush this segment, but I was like, oh my God, I can't answer what he just said unless we do this. Going back to your story, you're learning the blues. By day, you're working at UNICEF.
Yeah.
How the hell did that happen?
So I
say that not in a mean way.
No, for sure. I mean, I was basically working at, I was doing the whole artist thing and working at a temp agency. And I got a call from this temp agency saying, hey, like, I actually have potentially a really great gig for you. Can you start next week? And I'm like, I'm in LA doing The Voice right now. Like, I'll call you when I get back. And so I finished The Voice. I ended up like not making it on the show, but like it was just such a crazy
I
experience.
just heard your voice, and that makes no sense to me whatsoever.
And it's because it's television and they're producing a show. They're not.
Did they air your audition?
No, like I didn't even get to audition in front of the judges. They had like 5 days of auditions and they put me on day 5 and said, "Hey, we're really sorry, but all of the slots on the team's filled up, so you guys are just gonna go home." But what it is, it's like it's a TV show. Like, have you heard of who Morgan Wallen is?
Yeah,
He's a country singer.
Mm-hmm.
He was also on day 5. He didn't get to audition as well, like with me on the show. So it's like it's not a matter of like who's talented enough. It's like what they're trying to fit for the season. You know, they have, you know, I'm not shy about how television works and stuff. They filled their quota of black singers and like they put me on this other day. They like had me and another guy sing a John Mayer song.
Is that your bag, John Mayer?
It's one of my bags.
Okay.
I could sing pretty much any John Mayer song. And they gave me the worst John Mayer song of all time. His
Daughters.
worst single. No. Daughters is I sang that in one of the auditions.
Oh, I don't like that
but his worst song vocally to try to make your own is Your Body is a Wonderland. Ooh. He sings in one range, X amount of notes. There's not like, you know, and if you want love, we'll make it. Like, you can't even, this is bound to be a while. Like, even like that's like a little bit, but like there's
that's a little more flavor than he puts on it.
Exactly, but like there's not like a place that you could really show off and
can't do a run anywhere in there.
Dude, there's no the energy is always like a wave. So I'm like, did they do this to me on purpose? Probably, yeah. But it's okay. Like it's their producers making a show. I forgive you.
But did you want to ever go back?
On The Voice, not necessarily.
Okay.
You know. And it all worked out eventually.
I know. Well, we'll touch on how it worked out because I don't think the listeners know yet how it worked out.
No.
But so you came out here. You were here for I don't know, a couple days, a week.
Oh, yeah. I was out here. They flew me out here once, I think, and then I flew back to New York. And then I flew out here for like 3 weeks, 3.5, 4 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You were here for 4 weeks. They didn't put you up.
No.
I'm offended on your behalf.
No, it's okay. You know, it's like you get to, you know, it's all a learning process. I got like a backlot tour at Universal.
Oh, it's fun.
Just like from dressing rooms and all this stuff. And I got to see all different elements of production. Like I went to school for journalism. And so before my like executive producer audition, I met Mark Burnett. And like I know like him from like Survivor. I literally was studying this guy like a year or two before, and then right before the audition, I was like, "Hey, like, oh, you're about to go on audition?" I'm like, "Cool." I'm like, "Oh yeah, nice to meet you, Mark." And I'm like, "Well, all of anxiety is like kind of out the window. Like he's just another guy working a job.
Yeah.
His job happens to be the producer of Survivor, the longest and most successful reality program in that regard. And like this is right before The Voice won Emmys and stuff. I think like the season right before is like they were like nominated for Emmys and just won like their first Emmy, blah, 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 blah. So the show was continuing to blow up. And so, you know, you just realize that like everybody who's doing something in entertainment, they're just somebody working a job. It's up to you to put them on a pedestal, depending on what it is. Like there are definitely a handful of musicians that I would be floored to meet.
Sure.
But a handful of most of the other ones, I'm like, great, like you do what you do really well, and that's really cool. I've met a handful of like pretty successful songwriters, and just like been like, oh, like yeah, that's great that you write songs that have had 4 billion streams. There's another guitarist, Mateus, the Brazilian dude.
I don't think I know him.
He plays with Tori Kelly. He plays with Bruno Mars and Silk Sonic, and
it's another person who, if I met Anderson .Paak, I don't know if I'd be able to keep it together.
I met him. I was able to keep it together because like he's just...
Was he cool? He seemed
so
like
cool.
Yeah.
He's just the dude, you know, and I got to meet the whole band. I went to the Silk Sonic concert. It was one of the best nights of my entire life. I'm like a 1%er fan, like where I bought the shirt, I bought the sweater, I bought the album.
You gotta though. If you're into it, make it a thing.
Make it a whole thing. And so like I went to the concert, luckily it was at the after party. I walk in and the producer D Mile is there, and he's also Haitian. I'm like, yo D, what's up? And he's like, hey, what's up, bro? Like obviously he has no idea who I am, but I just chat him up and I'm just real respectful about it. And you know, I mean, there's like, you know, if I met Bruno, I would, you know, be a little floored as well, but I would still just be like, oh, what's up? You know, like, you know, you're just a cool dude.
You know what's crazy is that I will bet, and I'm sure that you might not register it. That after you perform and people come up to you and say good set, some people might be feeling that about you. Do you ever think about that?
Oh, 100%.
That you're that person for other people.
Oh, definitely. That happens. And it has happened. And
It's
it's
like, oh, you
I can't believe I'm thinking of no, it has happened. I still don't, think too much of it just because like, I think like, the art is an extension of me. I genuinely care about everybody that I meet. I know that a good handful of people are not like that. Some people just want to treat things as transactional, but I'm like, every moment is special. Life is full of moments. And it's like, you got to string together moments to create joy and to create happiness. And that's how it goes. So I'm like, hey, if I could leave this moment with a little bit of joy, a little bit of grace, then boom,
I feel like I just like got like one of the better life lessons I've had in a while.
100%.
I'm literally sitting here being like, remember this moment.
You should. And then like, cause so this is what it is. My brother's a lawyer, and the whole reason that we got connected.
I'll tell that on the pod in a second. Yeah.
And something that he was telling me when I was coming up, he's like, hey man, so like to help you with your performances, if you're not feeling into it or this or that or da-da-da-da, try to remember how you felt when you wrote that song, when you wrote that lyric and you're like, oh, that's a good song or good lyric. Remember that when you're performing it, And I'm like, you know what? You're right, Reg. Because a lot of these people haven't heard my music. They haven't heard my song, or they don't really know what it's really like. So it's like, bring yourself back to those moments that like made you feel, because, there's a lot of great things in life, and some people might be like, what the top is. I would rather have the feeling of writing a great song or a great lick more than like having a great orgasm.
Sure.
Or more than like winning the lottery, or more than like getting a new car, or this or that. One of the best feelings to me, really just expressing yourself truly, that's one of the best feelings to me.
I completely agree. I mean, I think like if I could necessarily like write a great song, then listen to that song while I'm having an orgasm after finding out I just won the lottery, I would love to have a combination of those things.
That might cause a heart attack.
That might be too much. That might be it. That might be it.
Yeah. And honestly, if that was the end of life,
what a great way to go out.
Are you kidding me?
What a great way to go out.
Yeah, man.
So I do want to briefly tell everyone how we got connected.
Yeah.
I still think this is hilarious. So Jess works at the same company as your brother.
Yeah.
And just started there. Her company just got acquired. I can say that. It's in the press. Her company got acquired. She started working there. I get home and she says to me, we had a concert at work, which by the way, like what an amazing situation to be in. Like, I just went to work. We had a big concert, great DJ. And she's talking about this performer that blew her away. Now, let me tell you something.
Okay.
She is not easily impressed.
Okay.
This singer-songwriter guy blew her away, was so good, was so talented. And she's like, how come you haven't had him on Steve Conversation? I go, who is it? She didn't give the name. I go, who is it? She goes, his name is Chris Watson. And I was like, don't say it like that. Don't say it like you're interested. You're dating me. She's like, Chris Watson?
Chris Watson?
Yeah. I was like, his name is Chris Watson. Don't go Chris Watson. Like, I don't like that. So anyway, so she like says your name and she's like, gotta look him up. I look you up. I listen. Obviously, she's right. You have the voice of an angel.
Thank
and
you.
I'm just like, this guy's great. And she goes, you got to get him on Steep Conversations. And I was like, cool. And then I was telling you this earlier, she goes, I'm going to talk to his brother. Over time, we'll develop a relationship. He seems really cool. And I feel like we'd be good friends. And then over time, and she continues to talk and I go, cool. I just messaged him. And she's like, you what?
Yeah.
And I was like, I said, here's the thing. I might have hesitated because I thought you were great and I figured you were probably busy. And then I saw that he does music and now he also does comedy. I think we're kindreds. I'm just going to shoot him a message.
100%, bro. 100%.
I want to get back to, because we talked about your first trip to LA, how you came out here for The Voice.
Yeah.
And then you went back to New York. When you came back out to LA, a lot of people don't know this. You ended up getting on to a different show.
I did.
Do you want to talk about that process?
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Tell me the whole thing, because I don't know, but I will say I have a friend who works at ABC, and she said she knows you. Like she's familiar with who you are. I don't know if you two are friends, but she's familiar with you.
Well, I'm glad that she's familiar. I mean, it's the way it is. So I get back to LA. I go to a listening party with my friend for Anthony Ramos. You know, he did
absolutely.
Hamilton, and I'm like literally chilling and talking with Anthony, and just like he's like, oh, like what's your deal? And I'm like telling him I just got back. Long story short, I get back home after that, and I get this email saying like, hey, we think that you like could do this like reality like dating show, like this and that. And I'm like so delusional. I'm like, sure, like let's just do like an on-phone interview. I'm like still all delirious. I do the interview and it was great. They're like, hey, like we would like to do something in person. I'm like, okay, cool. Everything for this show is just starting to line up.
And did they tell you what it was yet, or they just said it's a show?
They said it's like a dating show.
Okay. So they weren't specific.
They weren't all the way specific. And so they were like, okay, bring your guitar. And the interview is like 5 minutes away. I'm like, once again, another check. This thing is 5 minutes away. So I go do that interview. I crush it. They're like, okay, we're going to have another interview. I'm like, I'm used to this process relatively. Sure. So they're like, okay, we're going to have this interview. It's going to be a longer time. It's going to be at this hotel, blah, 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 blah. I show up to this hotel. It was a hotel that I did The Voice, you know? And I'm like, wow, one of the last times I was here, I was with my dad. And like my dad, like that was like his like finally coming to Jesus moment of me being an artist, of saying like, hey Chris, like you didn't make it on the show, but these people are no more talented than you. Like if anything, you're more talented because you're an artist. You're not just a singer, blah, 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 blah. And so I go and I have to do this whole, you know, there's so much stuff that they're having you do. It's finally time for me to go and like meet with the executive producers. Before I do that, they're like, okay, you're gonna have a small on-camera interview. I'm like, okay, fine. So I get into this room. It's a dark room. I could barely see anybody. And like all of the people, like there's like a handful of like producers and sound guys there. I'm just sitting there waiting for whoever's going to come and interview me. The guy walks in the room. He goes, hey, my name is Patrick. We're just going to have a conversation. And I'm like, Patrick is my father's name. And this is one of the last places I saw my dad. I'm like, sure, Patrick, let's talk. We just talk and everything was super chill. I go into that. After that, I go into the executive audition and like all the producers are there and they're just like basically kind of asking like, you know, like, are you like, would you be like nervous to like perform on television, like this and that? And I'm like, dude, no. I like work with people's kids. Like literally like people hand me the most precious part of their life, little children. They're like, dance with the kids, throw the kids around, have fun. So yeah. That's kind of how I fell into the show. And, you know, I crushed that interview. It was one of the best, if not the best interviews and auditions I've ever had. And I just like, after that, I like got home and I'm like, if I don't do this show, then like there's something wrong with them because like, I don't understand how they wouldn't want me. Like it just was perfect. 2019 as well as like was the first year that I opened up and was like, you know what, I'm ready to start dating again. Let's put my heart out there, because for so long I was like, if I can avoid emotional heartbreak and heartache, I'm just gonna do it because life is easier and I'm gonna avoid it. Yeah. So
had they told you this show is a spin-off of The Bachelor?
Yeah.
Like okay.
I knew it was like, you know, by like, you know, one of the other interviews, I knew it was a spin-off of The Bachelor, and I knew the title and I knew what it was going to be about, that it was going to be musicians trying to date each other. And I've never dated a musician. So I was like, okay, like, let's try this out. It's new. Everything is new. So let's figure it out.
So you end up getting on the show. What's the process like? Once you started doing it, were you like, I don't want to be on here, or I'm thrilled to be here?
I mean, you know, I never have like nervous sweated or anything like that. You know, I'm about to get like at the house and like meet Chris Harrison.
Yeah.
They put me in a gray shirt. I bought this leather jacket for the show. It's like for like the intro, left it at home.
Oh no.
So they put me in like a gray button down. I'm like, these motherfuckers did it on purpose. Cause like gray is like the most obvious thing. You could see the sweat.
Oh
like,
yeah.
This is black. And I'm like literally like praying to God. I'm like, God, if you don't let me stop sweating right now, I don't think I'm going to forgive you. Like, you know, like I was like having these, you know, either way.
God gets much harder asks than that, I think.
I know, he really does. Well, you know what I'm saying, whatever you guys are into. And so I finally go in there and like meet Chris Harrison and like walk into the show and all the cameras are on. And I swear it's like an earthquake. It's like been like the most nerve-wracking moment of my entire life, of just like walking in there and like, you know, there are people behind the camera saying like, you know, because like you're just like walking in there and it's like all of a sudden it's just like, hey, you're here and you're on. And I'm like meeting all these people, and I'm like, I'm telling you, I could not get a drink fast enough just to like try to like calm the nerves. It was unbelievable. That first night was just memorable in all kinds of ways. The craziest experience of my entire life, hands down.
Now, fast forwarding, so you go through the show.
Yeah.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. It went pretty well for you.
It went pretty well for me. I ended up winning the show.
Yep.
And one of the questions that they had like previously was like, so like if you like got like knocked off the show early, like how would that make you feel? I'm like, well, that's not gonna happen. There's no way I'm gonna like make it onto the show and like get knocked off early. Like this is not gonna happen. And then sure enough, I ended up winning the show and finishing it, you know.
What happens at that point? You win, then what?
So we won with my partner Bree at the time, and they were like, all right, well, you guys are gonna do an album, you're gonna do a music video, and you're gonna go on like a 6-city tour.
Amazing.
I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And the pandemic shuts everything down.
No.
We wrapped filming February 12th. The shutdown was March 13th.
So I did not know that.
Yeah. So like, you know, one of the other things is like you don't have communication when you're on the show. So we were in a hotel like right before we went on, and like one of the things I see is like Trump this, something else with that. Oh, and like there's like also like this like new virus like starting to come out. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. I feel like kind of bad about this new virus coming out. And then I like don't have any communication for a couple days. And all of a sudden I'm in LAX. I see people with face masks. I'm like, so this virus hasn't gone anywhere. Maybe it's actually coming here. And then, you know, on and on and on. I wasn't able to tell people what I was doing, where I was for the last month, you know, because I just went cold on communication, you know, so.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. I didn't realize that, like, all that was supposed to happen. And then once the pandemic lifts, they go, yeah, it's not happening.
Oh, yeah. No, it was it's, you know, me and my partner, we're not together anymore. It's kind of a blessing in disguise in some ways. But at the same time, like, I was definitely looking forward to being available for all these people who were just like, oh my gosh, there's this TV star who's in front of my face now. You know, I had to mourn that loss of like, you know, not being able to play weddings for 10 grand, 20 grand, you know, because all that stuff would have been there where they're like, oh my gosh, like we have the winner from The Bachelor singing at my wedding, you know, and, you know, it still does happen, but it would have been a lot nicer to be able to.
Sure. But I do, you know, I do think that all that one really needed from that experience, and I wasn't in it, so I don't know, is like, you knew how great you were. Mm-hmm. Now a lot of other people also know it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's amazing.
Yeah, I had to have all of the confidence going into that, and like there was one point where my partner was like, "Man, like you're learning this song like very quickly," and I'm like, "Because I have to."
Yeah.
I said thank you, but in my mind I'm like, it's because I have to. It's because that's a camera and that's a camera. This is also a camera. Like, what else am I supposed to do besides
that shirt
like
button's a camera?
Yeah, like, you know, what else am I supposed to do besides like nail this song into my head as fast as I possibly can?
100%.
You know?
There's no other option.
No other option. And like, you know, one other insider thing is like, you know, for the performances, out of like the 4 or 5 performances that we had, they put us up first. And then I was also like the one to like start the song because like my partner just like wasn't ready to like be like, okay, like I'm gonna sing the song now. Mm-hmm. And so they were just kind of like, they saw me and they're like, okay, Chris, like we think that you're one of the stronger performers and singers. Like you're gonna start the show for us. And like I like set the stage for like the rest of the other couples and stuff that were performing. And I'm like, well, you know, God, you're not making mistakes. Like it's not a mistake that they want me to go first. And it's like, you're cut for this moment. Go do it. Like, what else are you going to do? Like, you wanted to sing, now you're singing. And it's just another stage, it's another performance. Like, you're in this for the long haul. This isn't going to be the last show you're going to do.
I totally get that. Well, are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready for the lightning round.
Let's do it. I like to keep it on an index card. It makes me feel like a late night talk show host.
Great.
There are 5 questions. They're fast questions. They don't have to be fast answers. So feel free to take your time.
You got it.
Question 1, what is a favorite ritual of yours? So like mine is brewing tea.
Probably praying. Praying and just like being very grateful for what I have. I've experienced a lot of heartache, a lot of emotional loss and trauma. And so I think sometimes when I pray, I'm able to just hold on to what is true. You know, in terms of like grieving my father and my best friend, I lost them on the same day and lost a whole lot of other people. Thanks, man. what God has like revealed to me is like, hey, you have to hold on to what's true. I have a father that I miss. There's some people that they lose their father, they lose this or that, and they're like, good riddance, I'm glad he's gone. Or they lose their dad and they're like, man, I miss him so much, like he was barely in my life or something like that. I'm like, I have a dad that I miss, and like that's just the greatest gift ever. Like that's what's true. I have a friend that I miss, but look, I have so many other best friends. Like that's also true. Like, you know? So yeah, that's probably my greatest ritual is praying and giving gratitude.
I mean, I feel the same way about my dad, so I understand what you mean. Question 2, what is a running bit that you have with a friend or a partner that makes you laugh?
One of my best friends out here in LA, Blake, he was in the National Guard, and like he like got the Southern accent from this guy from West Virginia, and it's like, tell you what, and just like it's kind of like a King of the Hill type thing, and we just kind of talked to each other like that. And as well as like I also had a thing with my friend growing up, and we'd call each other boy all the time and like fake racist stuff, and like it's kind of like Clayton Bigsby type thing, like, you know, just, you know, when I would, you know, all that stuff. My favorite accent to fake or is a Southern accent. You know, one time I met this guy Clayton was from Mobile, Alabama.
Of course he was.
And he was a really nice guy. And I asked him, I said, Clayton, I'm not trying to be rude. Is that really how fast you talk? And he said, yes, this is it. And I swear to you, man, that's how fast the man talked. He couldn't speak any faster than that, and that was fine. But it was like...
You're like, it's all good.
It was a real eye-opening experience to meet somebody who, like, they really spoke that quickly.
That's insane.
Or that slow. So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you do an impression of one or both of your parents?
I guess I definitely do an impression of my dad all the time. Like, hey, Patrick Watson, nice to meet you. I used to pick up the phone and they'd be like, oh, Dr. Watson. I'd be like, no, this is his son. You sound just like him. I'm like, I don't see it or hear it, but you know.
I remember when when my voice dropped, because I used to answer the phone and I'd be like, hello, you know, and then just one day I was like, hi. And they're like, oh, hi, Lee. That was my dad's name. And I was like, no, it's Josh. And they're like, are you sure?
Are you sure? Are you just trying to get out of this? And it's like, no.
I was like, no,
really
this is definitely him.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, is there a moment that really resonates for you?
You know, one time I was like playing a gig and I was playing keys, and I like, you know, really considered myself like not to be like a keys player.
Sure.
But they needed one for the night, and I was doing it. And then after I was just like, man, I don't know. Like I felt like I went solidly enough. And then they just like really thanked me for like being able to do that. And we're like, you like really don't understand, but like you really pulled us together for us. And essentially I was like, you know what that sign is? It's like, hey, continue to practice the piano, because you never know like when you're gonna need to play it, you know? It was for my church, and they were like, hey, like, so like you like playing the band? Like, can you play in the band? And I'm like, yeah, like I sing, I play guitar, and I play the drums. They're like, okay, cool. Anything else? I'm like, I like kind of play piano. They're like, okay, great. Like audition with piano. And so that was just like kind of the sign, like keep playing piano. And then, you know, it just keeps on going. And, you know, another year or two down the road, I'm like on this TV show, and they're like, hey, so like we need like some time fillers. Like, hey, like, do you guys like want to go and like just like sing a solo song like on piano? Like Chris, you go first. Ryan, you go next. And then like literally like on the show, I'm like basically like the background music, like in certain transitions, they like have me like on piano, just like playing this, and like they edited it in, and like, you know, essentially the way they cut me is like, I'm like the musician who just really cares about music and love, which is and was true.
I was gonna say that does appear in the time that we've gotten to know each other. That seems true to me.
Yeah, I care about music, and I was trying to find somebody.
There you go.
So,
final question for you. And I usually ask, what is your favorite tea or comfort? But I know you drink a lot of tea.
I do.
So what is your favorite tea?
My favorite tea has to be the Savior Throat Coat.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
There's been a good handful of situations where it's like potentially psychological, then potentially also just what the tea can give you, where I'm like, I need a throat coat. Like,
I used to use throat coat, and I would, and I do not recommend this to up and coming musicians, but when we would tour, I used to use Fisherman's Friend.
Okay.
And
I don't even know what that is.
It would numb your throat entirely, so you couldn't actually tell the damage you were doing. Don't recommend it.
Don't recommend it. I don't want to do that. I don't
Don't
wanna do
recommend
that.
it.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I learned very quickly that two things. Number one, that I had a very specific form of acid reflux that was hurting my vocal cords, and that's why my voice was running out.
Shiza.
And two, I also learned that doing really long gigs 4 nights in a row, including practices during the day, was a dumb thing.
Dumb.
Yep, it was dumb.
Yeah, you gotta hydrate. You gotta relax. I mean, like you gotta be able to take it easy on yourself sometimes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I know it now.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. We're learning. We're in our 30s. We're figuring it out. We're learning.
I'm figuring it out.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add? We're at the very end. Anything else you want to add?
I mean, I have a new single. It's called "When I'm Alone," and
it's so good.
thank
by the
you,
way.
brother. I appreciate
Your voice
it.
is just magical on that track. Yeah.
Thank you, man. And yeah, I have a lot of blues music coming out. I'm actually gonna go to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, in a couple months and finish my album.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I'm gonna drive over there, take the dog, and just.
Well, you gotta. I mean, Betty does
Lil
not
Bam
deserve
Balam.
to miss out on that.
Oh no, of course not. Lil Bam.
Lil Ram Jam.
Lil Ram Jam.
We are going to put all of your links, socials, Spotify, everything in the
Perfect.
show notes. Chris, thank you for coming on.
Of course, man. As well as you can call me Chris because we're friends.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
yes.
if people are looking me up, it's Christopher Watson. Like that's like the artist name, all that. And we got to come back because we didn't even get to touch on comedy yet.
I know that, and I was looking at the time, and I'm just like, I had so much fun talking to you. And I'm like sitting here, and I realized I was like, oh my god, I did not get to comedy. Oh,
we'll just say this one tidbit about comedy.
Please.
The reason I really started doing it at this stage in my career is because I play shows all the time, and music is still difficult in terms of trying to break through.
yeah.
It's so easy to me now. I played this release show, and it's one of the easiest shows I've ever played. It's also one of the best shows I've ever played. It's very easy to me in a lot of ways. So comedy is extremely
you.
challenging. And so I'm like, let's keep challenging myself as an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like when people are like, it's too late for me to start X. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize. Are you on your deathbed?
Yeah, are you literally?
You must be.
Yeah. Are both of those legs that you're standing on, they're not going to work tomorrow?
Must be gone.
Yeah, you must be dying.
Yeah,
Which is fine.
yeah.
I'm dying too.
Next time we will talk all about comedy.
Yeah,
And
we'll
if you
start with
also
that.
have, we'll link both of your social because I know you kept them separate.
Watson Comedy. I need the followers.
We're gonna keep them separate.
Yeah.
Thank you, my man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you. That was Chris Watson. You can find him at Tell Him Watson on Instagram, and you can find his music on tellhimwatson.com and wherever you listen to music. We'll be back next week, so until then, happy steeping.
I have a miniature schnauzer. Her name is Betty, specifically Black Betty Bam Balam Watson.
She's a Ram Jam dog.
Ram Jam, every morning waking her up. Oh, Black Betty, Bam Balam. Oh, Black Betty, Bam Balam. Black Betty had a child. Bam Balam, the damn thing going wild.